you, Pravinji. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guest, Aditya ji, Dr. Pandit, Maulik, Pravinji, as well as Mr. Mukundan. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be standing in front of all of you as we delve into this very exciting topic of innovation, self-reliance, and sustainability. And I think these three topics are also pretty close to my heart because I firmly believe that these are the three pillars which are actually going to shape the Indian chemical industry for tomorrow. But before we get into that, I've got two things to do. One is I have to be extremely grateful to ICN and also to Praveen for this golden opportunity of allowing me to speak on this dais, obviously with this August gathering, but also more importantly, for allowing me to be on this speaker slot in the morning, because you know in past, as fate would have it, they always placed me in these post-lunch sessions. And where the battle with post-meal drowsiness became my greatest adversary. And therefore, I was always juggling between keeping an audience alive and awake, which I believed through my engaging content they should have been, but the adversary was the sleep, because the food always is very good in these conferences. But today, what a glorious day, and I am really blessed because now I feel that I am actually addressing an audience which is high on spirits, light on belly, and probably still enough coffee which is pumping through your veins. So I will therefore try to keep it as engaging as I could live up to the expectations of the morning. But before again I start, I would actually want to ask all of you one question. Can you tell me which organization created an online marketplace globally? Anyone? What is the name that comes to your mind? Amazon, right? That's what even I thought of while I was working on this. And I realized that it was eBay in 1995 when they actually created a marketplace. And then there comes this online book selling company which actually tried to disrupt the whole model and the formidable presence that eBay had built over the years through a very simple disruptive innovation model wherein they actually provided an alternate to a traditional brick and mortar space. So what Amazon is today is largely on account of creating new market spaces through their disruptive innovation model. And that is what led to transforming the way we all buy things today, right? And it was certainly not an easy win for Amazon, I reckon, because I think they had to always go through this battle of tradition versus innovation, because generally it's always difficult. And if I really wear my hat in the chemical industry as the CEO of a company, I always ponder upon things like, okay, probably this is how it has been done and we've been successful. So should we really try to do it differently? But then at the same time, there is always this fear of how many resources can I allocate if I really want to disrupt something really, really new, right? There is always this fear of failure and so on and so forth, right? What if it doesn't work? I've got resources, 10 guys, 20 guys put in the project, and then after 1 year, I realize it's not worked. What will happen in the ecosystem? So I think companies like Amazon chose to take that bull by its horns. And that is what resulted in what you can see today in terms of Amazon. So my friends, I think disruptive innovation over incremental innovation is exactly what some of these most successful companies of today have been doing. And that is what is my talk about for next few minutes. Coincidentally, I was actually reading this book, and it's highly recommended if you have time. It is called The Innovator's Dilemma. And this book is really interesting because it actually talks about many things around innovation. It also reminds me of the days when I was in such a dilemma. what it actually does, it tells people about this ever-present challenge between the choices we have to stick to that tried and tested mechanism of doing a research in a particular order, conducting an innovation in a certain way, and that actually has brought success, right, over the years. But then it also talks about how about people embracing these risky, long-drawn, sometimes also very inconclusive disruption technologies to stay ahead of the curve. So I think the choice for every organization is to choose and pick which model they would adopt. And I don't think there is one model only that can take us ahead. But it is very important to consider both of them. And now if you ask me, why am I saying this in the Indian Chemical Conclave? Because already Mr. Mukundan, Dr. Yadav, they already mentioned a lot about how our growth has happened over the years. And if you look back, especially past 2 decades, there have been brilliant examples in India on how we have been able to accelerate despite adversities around us. But we grew, right? And the question now is, if we continue to grow the way we are doing, then why do we need any disruptive innovation? And my 2 cents on that is, again, coming back to the analogy of eBay versus Amazon. If the Indian chemical industry needs to grow and continue to thrive the way it did till now, differentiation and value addition will be ever important than just cost leadership, right? I mean, and I know we are in the ecosystem where cost also tends to be a king, but if we have to stay relevant in the global landscape and parlance, I think differentiation and value creation and addition is going to be ever important than before. Therefore, we must think beyond just incremental innovation and consider disruptive innovation as a part of our life and necessity, and not just luxury. And it's not easy, right? I mean, I have seen this myself in my journey. When you are trying to disrupt, you have to take calculated risk, you have to dare to go beyond, but also sometimes, you know, the reward of that is you end up creating a spectacle that actually leaves everyone breathless. Huh? Wow, what a wonderful product or a concept this company has created. So, and disruptive innovation also, to my mind, is largely about this internal innovation, external collaboration. In the interest of time, I will not go too much into that, but I think it's always about daring and thinking big, creating that ecosystem, creating a culture wherein failures are actually only considered as an opportunity to learn and also succeed the next time. And also, of course, external collaboration with companies, associations, organizations. We've got beautiful infrastructure in terms of ICT, IITs, ISCs here, of how can we drive that next concept, and which may not necessarily always be the product. It can be a model. Amazon never talked about a product, right? I mean, they always had a model which actually created this whole disruption. So, some of you might argue that disruption is obviously a very risky business. It's like a tightrope walking over a tank which is infested with a lot of sharks. And why should I do that? My take on that is that I don't think we have a choice, right? So we are anyways going to walk over this tightrope. So might as well bring one unicycle, some juggling flames, and torch over it like a warrior. And in today's world, you will find such trailblazers, probably even as we speak, right? You will find companies who are dancing to their own beats and creating a new story and changing this game forever. Think about Apple. This was the rebellious underdog who revolutionized the way we communicate, the way we listen, and even the way we take selfies. And they disrupted not only the technology sector, but our entire lifestyle. So today, our world is filled with I this, I that, and whatnot. And this is actually thanks to the disruptive vision of this company, which actually transformed everything around us. So in conclusion, I think disruptive innovation to me is not a luxury. It is a necessity for companies which are actually looking at longevity and also importantly relevance in today's fast changing world. I believe that the key to this lies between striking a very fine balance between preserving what makes us great, and that is the history that Indian chemical industry had over past 2 decades, but also embracing those winds of change. I think it's very important. So my friends, as we gather today, let's embrace this spirit and let the disruption begin. Thank you so much, and I wish all of you a wonderful and successful conference. Thanks a lot.